Welcome to Spirit Talk. This is Rod Weaver. Today is October 21st, 2024. We're going to bring you another edition of the This Day in Bowling History. And let's get started. From the Alton Evening Telegraph from the year 1944. This is a Canadian publication. The headline says, "Armless man bowls 207 in 5-pin match." From Hamilton, Ontario. A man with no arms, Lloyd Edwards, a veteran of this war from St. Catharines, Ontario, bowled 207 in a 5-pin game last night. He accomplished the feat by manipulating with his artificial hands a special bowling ball developed by John Weatherston of Hamilton. From the Burlington Daily News from the state of Vermont in the year 1941, alleys here rated highly by National Bowling Pamphlet. That Burlington was not lagging behind in the bowling world is indicated by a picture displaying in the Duckpin World, a publication of the National Duckpin Bowling Congress. Two views of the women's annex of the Burlington Bowling Arena are pictured in the latest edition of the pamphlet, captioned thusly, "Just about the nicest 4-alley installation in duckpin territory." The editor, describing the alleys, continued, "A virtual bowling theater with its row after row of theater seats and a lighting system that darkens the entire house with the exception of the alleys themselves." Congratulations also went to Arthur E. Moran, NDBC executive for Vermont, on the work that he has been doing to further the activities of the Congress. At least 7 sanctioned leagues are reported to have been started in Burlington, with other alleys in this area wishing to join the Congress so that their leagues may also be sanctioned. From the Atchison Daily Globe from the year 1904, The Palace of Pleasure. New Jersey church's institution to fight the devil. One of New Jersey's churches has undertaken to fight the devil with some of his own weapons, says the New York Tribune. A few days ago, a church in Jersey City opened a Palace of Pleasure so the public might obtain recreation there instead of at saloons and dance halls. There, people may dance, play cards, billiards, and pool, and take part in as well as witness theatrical performances. There, the boys may box and wrestle, and men may smoke. The People's Palace, as it is known from the inscription over its entrance, was created by Reverend Dr. John L. Scudder, pastor of the First Congregational Church of Jersey City, and Joseph Milbank, a citizen of New York. Mr. Scudder furnished the ideas, Mr. Milbank the money. As Mr. Scudder said at the time the cornerstone of the building was laid, "The People's Palace will sanctify all legitimate amusements and will not let the devil have a monopoly on them. It will keep boys off the streets, young men out of saloons, and young women out of dance halls." About 10 years ago, the pastor of the First Congregational Church of Jersey City induced its members to build 10-pin alleys in its basement so that the boys of the neighborhood might have their fun there instead of at beer halls. The 10-pins made a great rumpus among some other clergymen, and they also attracted the attention of Mr. Milbank. The clergymen openly criticized such an amusement in a church and said it would send more boys to the beer halls. Mr. Milbank watched and waited. He said nothing. The 10-pins stayed, and the congregation, and especially the Sunday school, increased until the First Congregational became the largest church of that denomination in Jersey City. Furthermore, one innovation led to another. One day Mr. Scudder discovered that some of the boys, in their desire to learn to swim, went down to the waterfront, where they were compelled to mingle with the low characters always to be found there. He immediately decided that the church should have a swimming tank of its own, and succeeded in having one built. From the Anderson Herald from the year 1950. This is about lawn bowling, by the way. Personal Health Service, an article provided by William Brady, MD. "5 days a week, having snapped the bullwhip over the heads of my slaves to keep 'em working like mad, I quietly let myself out through the rear patio and toddle half a mile to the bowling green. 3 of the finest bowling greens in the country, in use the year round, except perhaps 15 or 20 days when the greens are too wet, await me. There is room for 192 players to bowl, yet only 150 to 160 persons play there. The greens are public, in a city park, and anyone may bowl there anytime he or she wishes on payment of a trifling fee. Lawn bowling, or bowling on the green, is a lifetime game and sport. Once you learn what it is all about and try your hand at it. Anybody may play, man, woman, or child. A 15-year-old girl won the women's state championship. A 91-year-old retired professional man gives an excellent account of himself any day of the week. An 80-year-old retired businessman whose eyesight is so bad he can no longer read enjoys bowling several afternoons a week. 10 hours a week on the bowling greens is what keeps a certain health columnist tolerably good-natured." That referring to the writer himself. Throughout South Africa, at least in the towns and cities, lawn bowling is the popular game. Bowling greens by the scores everywhere, and they are fully used by men, women, and children every day. Lawn bowling is a godsend for any man or woman who has had the misfortune or perhaps made the mistake of retiring abruptly or entirely from business, profession, occupation, or work without having carefully cultivated an avocation which will take up his or her spare time. Think of that 80-year-old retired businessman already mentioned. With his semi-blindness, he could pass the time by sitting twiddling his fingers. But thanks to lawn bowling, and he plays an amazingly good game, he bowls for 2 hours several days a week and thoroughly enjoys himself in every game he plays. As exercise, the game is pretty mild, but perhaps this would be an attraction for persons who have been persuaded to believe they have weak heart. In any case, I have observed that regular bowling on the green transforms gloomy, melancholy individuals who have had 2 or 3 bouts of coronary thrombosis into cheerful, happy persons. I have to laugh at the depth of relief shown by wives who have thanked me for getting their husbands interested in bowling on the green. They say that since retirement, the man has been so restless and such a constant nuisance around the house, but now he is off for the bowling green right after lunch and he is more like his old self. It is dangerous for anyone to retire from his or her regular activity to sheer idleness. It shortens life. To stave off early decrepitude, you should have something to do that you like to do, preferably some physical outdoor activity such as gardening, walking, golf, fishing, hunting with camera, not gun, lawn bowling, pitching horseshoes, laying brick, or other masonry in which you can engage every day the year round. At this time we're going to focus on articles from the news from the 1800s, because it gives an idea of just how popular and widespread the game of bowling was in the United States. From the year 1850, in the Buffalo Courier Express, the following short piece was written. The Gothic Hall Billiard and Bowling Saloon. This is an ad for that establishment. This saloon has 10 tables and 8 alleys, making altogether the largest and most commodious saloon in the United States. Gentlemen visiting this establishment will find order and regularity, such as will not be offensive to any gentleman. But there's a subtitle that says, Prize Watch. The subscriber will give a gold watch worth $50 to any of the customers of the Gothic Hall Billiard and Bowling Saloon for the largest string of 10 pins bowled between this time and the 2nd day of January next. The watch can be seen at the saloon. From the year 1849 in the Washington Union, the following segment is more of a description of a nearby, almost resort area from Washington, D.C. It says Fauquier White Sulphur Springs, Virginia, more generally known at that time as Warrenton Springs. The Fauquier White Sulphur Springs was open for the reception of visitors on the 1st of June. Extensive improvements are in progress that will give a new aspect to the whole establishment. Situated in a remarkably healthy region in full view of the bold Blue Ridge and in the vicinity of the beautiful village of Warrenton, visitors may on horseback or in carriages over the improving roads enjoy the most picturesque scenery or may seek exercise in the 10-pin alleys, the pistol gallery, the game of billiards, or the healthful dance. The lovers of music and flowers will find peculiar care has been taken to win their approval, while the fallow deer and the fawn, the gold and silverfish, the elk and the buffalo may relieve a tedious hour to those who are interested in the fair nature. These springs are 35 or 38 miles according to the route taken from Fredericksburg and 49 or 50 from Alexandria. Visitors leaving the District of Columbia in the stage or steamer at 2 or 9 a.m. may reach the springs the same day. A short snippet from the Cheyenne Daily News from Wyoming from the year 1874. Just says 10-pin alley on 17th Street. If you wish to pass a pleasant hour, you cannot find a more pleasant place. A. Ern Hufschmidt's bar is supplied with the choicest wines, liquors, and cigars. So that was a short piece, but it gives you an idea that even Wyoming had what was referred to as 10-pin bowling back then in the year 1874. From the Leavenworth Press from the year 1878 is an ad for Miller's 10-pin Palace. It says 3 of the finest and best 10-pin alleys in the West, and there is no amusement of a more healthful nature than the game of 10 pins. The finest bar in the city and everything in the line of liquors, brandies, wines, ale, beer, and cigars. None but gentlemanly attendants will be employed. No boys will be allowed to visit this house. From the Hannibal Weekly Messenger from the year 1858, there's just a paragraph that says 10 strike. Boys, remember that Fred Carl opens his new saloon in 10-pin alleys today on 3rd Street between Center and Bird and serves up a free lunch at 10 o'clock a.m. Those fond of rolling 10 pins are invited to amuse themselves today free of charge. Notice his advertisement in today's paper. So this was an announcement of a new bowling center that was opening Here's another noteworthy piece from the year 1852 from the Buffalo Commercial. It talks about apparently it was a rehabilitation center of sorts. Wyoming Cottage Water Cure Institute. And it was from Wyoming County, New York. This establishment is 42 miles from Buffalo, 14 miles from Batavia, and 10 miles from Attica. Stages run into Wyoming from all directions. The institution is in a most beautiful and healthy country, is new and complete in all respects, and ranks among the very best in the United States. It is provided with a gymnasium, 100 feet by 25, in which are 10-pin alleys, swings, and a great variety of apparatus for the exercise and amusement of patients, and for the use of which there is no charges to be made. The establishment has just been completely prepared for winter. The hot air furnaces in the body of the building have been enlarged, and the bathrooms provided with stoves. And these are bathrooms, not restrooms. No pains will be spared to make patients entirely comfortable in the severest weather. For the purpose of treatment, each patient is required to have 2 linen sheets, 1 woolen sheet, 2 large comfortables, and 6 coarse towels. For board and treatment from $5.50 to $6 per week. All acute diseases are very quickly cured by an early resort to skillful hydropathic treatment. All chronic diseases that are curable are curable by water scientifically applied. But those found to be most so at this establishment, after a long experience, are chronic inflammation of the eyes, rheumatism, and neuralgia in their various forms, nervous disorders associated with debility, spasmodic nervous diseases, palpitation of the heart, consumption in its early stages, asthma, dyspepsia in all its various forms. Patients proposing to try the water treatment are earnestly advised to avail themselves of the approaching cold weather. Experience has fully proved that it is more efficient in the fall and winter than in the summer. Dr. Hayes, the physician and proprietor, is a graduate of the Jefferson Medical College and has been for 4 years in the constant and successful practice of hydropathy. Returning to the 20th century, we have a couple more items. From the news in 1964, Baltimore's Al Rush, the 1960-61 U.S. Men's Classics champ, pocketed $1,000 as a result of his victory in the October Professional Duckpin Bowlers Tournament held at Colonial Annapolis Lanes. Al gained a 44-pin decision over runner-up Shorty Diver of Hyattsville. Ralph Gaddy of Silver Spring was third with 24-27. Dave Volk and Lindsey Hammonds finished in a dead heat with 24-23 pinfall. Representing the Western Maryland area in the World Series of the duckpin sport were Herman Brown of Frederick, and Clark Copenhaver of Hagerstown. And in another item, noteworthy item, Charles Guess of Mount Jackson set a world's record single game record when he rolled a 9-mark 246 game in the Bethesda Coca-Cola Open Tournament. In mounting his world record game, Guess racked up 8 strikes, 5 of them in a row, and a spare. In spite of his record game, Guess failed to win the tournament. He came in second for $600, 4 pins short of first. Top money went to Ed Ruziak with 1178 in the 8-game event. The former world record for a single duckpin game was 240, rolled by Ted Patera of Fall River, Massachusetts. Guest has made the National Duckpin Bowling Congress honor roll several times and will now receive the world's champion laurels. And finally, we'll close with a limerick from the St. John's Standard in Canada. The Song of the Alleys by T.N. Sister. I'll try to do this as well as possible, but it won't be nearly as good as Nipsey Russell does, so we'll see. I hear the alleys calling in accents sweet and low, and other bugs just like me have heard the call I know. The summer days are over, and gosh, things do look punk. Such foolish games as baseball are packed in winter's trunk. But football, strong and sturdy, will last a month or two, and some will chase the pigskin who've nothing else to do. The fishing days are over, mosquitoes are all dead, and some poor souls are dreaming of hockey days ahead. The cricket crease is punctured and golf is buried deep, and those who dote on tennis now sit and sigh and weep. The rowing shells are canvassed and croquet mallets hung, and bowling greens are covered, the kiddie's neck is wrung. But say if summer's welching and things look on the bum, when 5-pin games get going, it's then that things will hum. I see the pin boys sneering at those who think they're it. I hear the silent cussing, he's missed a simple hit. You'll miss the 4-pin sometimes, better men have done the same. If you will keep your temper, you'll learn to play the game. So cheer up, chappie, cheer up. Bright days are now ahead. The 5-pin game will soothe you when other games are dead. Though vines are full of pumpkins and frost is in the air, the 5-pin game still lingers. Then who the blank should care? So that's about all we have for today. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. You can hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see videos similar to this. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.